Oh, 3, 2, 1.
Hang on.
Yeah, now we're started, yeah.
I started eating because you said we weren't recording.
What are you eating anyway?
So I used one of these online prep food things. I used it when we were busy because I never got time to cook or anything. My Prep, I think it is, and they're not bad. And I feel bad cancelling it because I imagine a lot of people would be doing that now. So I'm still eating the prep food despite the fact that I've actually got time to cook for myself. But I figure given what's going on, if we can support other businesses, we probably should. So I'm still eating out of tubs, except in my house at a table.
There would be like an irony to it if you ordered it, like you placed your first order last Monday.
Yeah. Because you guys have all met Reese, who works with me, haven't you?
Yes.
He kind of eats like a bodybuilder. In that he eats his beef and rice and chicken and rice and so on and so forth, but then has a takeaway every day on top of it. And that seems to work for him. I mean, he was naturally smaller than Laz. He was like, I think 60 kilos at one point. He's over doubled his body weight. But I have to remember that I can't do that. So getting kind of prepped food for me was a way of going, well, I can't join Reese with his daily McDonald's because I've got like food that's been made for me that's health and stuff. So that's why I started doing it. But yeah, he has. I don't know if he's got a crazy metabolism or if he's just added so much muscle mass that his kind of base metabolic rate is now that high. But he seems to get away with eating pretty much whatever he wants.
I mean, he is a giant. Like he's very tall.
Reese?
I mean, is he?
Yeah, he's just wide.
I do. In my head, Reese is like 6'6". I don't know why.
Absolutely not. He's the same size as me. He's just.
It's like 5'4".
Oh, so he's not 6'6".
No.
We were talking about this earlier, Rick.
Yeah.
Did you tell me, or was I imagining it, that we judged you at a UKBFF show?
I think you imagined that because I've only ever competed in Scott Horton shows.
Yeah, that's what Laz said, so I must have imagined it. Yeah.
No, I competed in Scott Horton show, and I didn't realise at the time. I mean, I was very new to it, so I entered a show where I think there were 35 people in the novice category, or the first timers category, and I actually made the second call out, and that was kind of it. And I went, fuck this shit, and never bothered again. And actually, if I competed in shows where you had maybe 6 or 8 people in the first timers for the first couple of shows, I might have had a more positive experience with it.
You might have come in the top 10 and everything.
Yeah. I mean, if I found a show with 3 people in, I could have come third. I think the only UKBFF show I've ever been to actually was the year that Hollingshead won the overall. Was that the 18?
Yeah, we were gone by then.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine.
So I suppose now that we're 4 minutes in, we should probably do the introductions.
Oh, okay.
Like, say if someone was meeting you for the first time and was like, what do you do?
My name is Richard Foster. I am the manager, owner, director of Strom Sports Nutrition. I personally have developed all of the products in our range. And that's primarily me. I've competed in strongman to a reasonably high level. I was never very good. I've competed in bodybuilding once, and I've competed in powerlifting, in push and pull amateur competition. So I've kind of done a bit of everything. I've always enjoyed working with athletes rather than being the athlete. Those who can do and those who can't teach, I suppose, is the rhetoric there. And over the last few years, it's fair to say that Strom has grown monumentally quickly, so much so that I still find myself kind of pinching myself a little bit with it. So that's me and what we do, and I think that's it. That's me.
So when did you actually start Strom?
So 2010, and it was actually a small supplement shop in North Wales. And I used to use that trading name to run Wales Strongest Man. So I ran Wales Strongest Man 2012 and 2013, which was televised by S4C. And then me and my ex-wife separated, and the business was primarily in her name because I had another job. So she relieved me of that, which was good of her. and then it restarted in its current guise in 2015. And we started producing our own range of products 3.5 years ago now.
And what did you start? What was your first product?
So we did Vascumax and Stimumax to start with, because anyone who's familiar with kind of manufacturing supplements, pre-workouts are actually relatively cheap and simple to manufacture, and it's kind of hard to get it wrong. So those two products we did for probably 6 months or a year, and they sold okay. The original Vascumax had a picture of my legs on it. Graphic design is not a strong point of mine. That's why we use Laz to do everything now. And then we brought out Support Max. Support Max is basically the things I used to take. When I was younger, I used to abuse gear. I'm quite happy to say that I didn't use sensibly. I very much abused it, but I like to think that I could get away with it by managing kind of cycle support, which was something that wasn't really done 10 years ago. I mean, you guys have been in the game for a very long time. You'll know it's a relatively new concept, certainly to the degree that it's done now. So Support Max was all the things I used to take to keep my blood work in range, and I'd always found it was very effective, and it was based on good research. And I got it priced into a product, and it was one of those things like, we can make this, and I'd spoken to people on forums and stuff, and people said they would buy it, but the margin in it was slim to none. But I felt that I needed some sign-off on it. So I spoke to Dave Crossan, who's a good friend of mine, and I said, look, I've got this product. I want to bring it to market, but I need someone who's got a bit of weight behind their name to sign off it and say that they kind of stand by this product as being efficacious for what it's supposed to do. And Dave agreed with a couple of terms. He wanted to add citrus bergamot to it, which helps with cholesterol, which is something I hadn't used previously. And he wanted to see the certificates of analysis paperwork to show that the ingredients were what they said they were. And then he did speak to me about increasing the dosage of one ingredient, but that wasn't doable. And the product still being financially viable, because one of the big goals with it was it had to cost less than a bottle of Tren. I felt at the time, because cycle support was such an untalked about thing, that if it was too expensive, people just wouldn't buy it. And with those things in place, Dave was happy to sign off on the product, and that product really catapulted us into the mainstream. And it was one of those conversations I'd had with some friends. I said, look, I'm going to go on social media and talk about this product that's designed for people that are on gear as a cycle support. And there was a lot of people who said that maybe that would be twisted into a negative because we were being very open about gear use. But actually, the community was incredibly supportive, and a lot of coaches got on board and started recommending it to clients, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And that set the scene for all the other products and what we've tried to do. So we just, I guess, kind of right place, right time. If we'd waited 2 or 3 years, there would have been lots and lots of other cycle supporty type things on the market. If we'd done it 4 or 5 years previous to that, I think there might have still been too much stigma around gear use for people to take it seriously or to be willing to talk about it openly. So I think we were just very lucky in the timing of it. And you'll know now from social media, everybody's happy to talk about gear and use. And there was a period a couple of years ago when it was almost the thing people would talk about to get noticed on social media. You know, you'd be open about your gear use and everyone would applaud you for being open and honest. I guess a little bit like, I suppose, Rich Piana and Dave Crossan started that, actually, and Boston Lloyd to an extent.
Yeah, but also I think it kind of makes sense, you know, just to use supplements for just general health, whether you are using gear or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember reading a transcript of a seminar that Lee Haney did when he was in the middle. And somebody asked him, well, what's your plans for next year?
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't the usual, I'm going to come in X amount heavier, you know, this, that, and the other. He said, well, I'm just going to remain healthy.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, what? You know, but if you understand that, if you remain healthy, well, then you can train, because if you haven't got your health, then you can't do any of those things. You know, and he knew obviously that he was ahead of everybody else, and that's all he had to do was just remain healthy, and he was going to win again the following year.
To say there's so many competitors that are still competing that much longer now.
Yeah.
So as you say, if you can offer a product that you know is going to give them longevity in the sport they love, well, that's a perfect product.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a weird one. I think people are coming around to this idea that a healthy body will grow better and recover better and look better. It's just taken a long time for us to get there.
Yeah, but it'll last longer as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, products like the joint support and Support Max Neuro, they have become really popular with just general athletes rather than bodybuilders, you know.
Yeah, I mean the joint, the Support Max joint, we use that and the Neuro pretty much every night.
Yeah.
Would you say, like we use the powder, but I don't know whether it's just me because I remember the first time that you sent me Support Max joint, it was capsules.
No, we tend to find that the people who have got really battered joints, the powerlifters and stuff, seem to get more from the powder. Now, it stands to reason. The main ingredient, the thing that's really expensive, is Hydrokirk. We were the first company, I believe, in Europe to use Hydrokirk. It's a water-soluble curcumin. So the more water it's in, the more solubilized it becomes, and the better it'll be uptaken. The problem, as you know, with the powder is that it's messy, and if you're not careful, it can stain literally everything you own. I actually have people emailing and asking me to pay to replace their clothes because they've got it on their clothes and things, which is kind of ridiculous. But yeah, anecdotally, the powder certainly works quicker than the caps. The things like the hyaluronic acid and stuff will be exactly the same in the caps or the powder. They're things that will have an effect over a long period of time. You should find that if you use the caps and you drink a pint of water with them at the same time, that you'll get a very similar effect. But I never actually remember to do that.
If you've got something, like that you've hurt yourself additionally, would it be worth increasing the dosage
So this is
for a little while?
Again, it's one that the powerlifters and the bodybuilders kind of treat differently. Curcumin is such a potent anti-inflammatory that it inhibits the inflammatory response to training. So you could regard it as reducing the amount of muscle protein synthesis that will occur post-training if you use it too close to training.
Yes.
I find that people who have been training longer would rather just reduce inflammation and deal with an injury as quickly as they possibly can. Some of the bodybuilders are very concerned about this idea of potentially reducing the amount of gains they have, and they seem to use it more sparingly. I think the honest answer is that in most scenarios, you're going to be better dealing with an injury as quickly as you possibly can. So that would be my take on it. I would normally, if I've had a session and I've tweaked something or I've pulled something, I know it's going to be sore the following day. I'll have a serving immediately afterwards, and then probably have my normal one at night again. And hopefully that will start to nip it in the bud, depending on how serious it is, obviously.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Rick.
So I'm curious now that we've got onto supplements, because obviously you say about like Support Max and then like the Support Max Neuro, you have like these kind of new product categories, if you will.
Yeah.
Do you kind of struggle with it now to sort of think, how are we going to sort of keep this reputation?
The amount of times I get questions going, what's the next thing you're doing? And so Support Max joint supports are a category that have existed forever, but Support Max and the Neuro were two things that I had in my head years ago that I've wanted to do. And people say, oh, what's the next thing that you're going to do? And the honest thing is that the range is pretty much there. Now, we have finalized the artwork on our next product today, which is designed primarily to help with back pumps when you're using orals in the off season, or clem cramps when you're on prep. Which is an unusual product. It's not been done before. And again, like all the best products, it's kind of made out of a need that we have, or certainly Reese has. But what it is fundamentally is a hydration product. It's a hydration product with a very, very large amount of taurine in it, some cranberry juice extract, some very, very mild diuretics, and coconut water extract. So it's going to make sure that your electrolyte balance is good. It's going to hydrate you as best as possibly can, but stop you retaining excess water, which is what can cause those horrible lower back pumps when you're on orals. That's quite unique and different.
Yeah, but you can immediately see there's going to be a benefit over and above, you say, the back pump through orals and the cramps with clem. By the sounds of it, that would be a good hydration product.
And it's a very large tub, lots of servings, because none of the ingredients are massively expensive to manufacture. But that's something that I was looking at maybe a year and a half ago when I did orals for the last time. And then Reese has recently been pushing his numbers up, and he started to have this problem with back pumps that you guys will be more than familiar with, certainly with clients and things. And Reese kind of prodded me and said, look, is that something we can pick up again? Because I could really use that product, and we've got the athletes to trial it and so on, and it's been really well received. So the tricky thing at the moment is knowing when to launch a product. I mean, is it the right time to launch a product at the moment? Probably not.
In the current situation, when
But now's the time for people to look.
maybe get people to talk about it now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing will probably be to get it, because the factory is running on skeleton staff as well, is to get the products available and get some people talking about it. And then when we are back on full force, maybe get lads to come and film a video about it.
Yeah.
Other videographers are available. We think Laz is the best.
No, they're not, right? I'm the only one ever.
You're the only one that is, travels to Shrewsbury. So, no, I mean the stuff Laz has done for us has been really good, and it is an area that we have been lacking in previously. I was talking about it the other day to someone else who runs a business. The thing that Laz has done that other people we've used in the past, because we have dabbled with other videographers and design people in the past, is Laz has managed to tie everything together so it's instantly recognizable as Strom stuff. Kind of have that common thread running through it, but also pick up on the feel of the brand without us really having to artificially make that happen. In the same way that he does with the workshop.
No, but the thing is, I think where Laz comes into his own, especially with products and things like that, is because he was born into bodybuilding. He's grown up with bodybuilding, and he's seen every aspect of it. So, of course, whether it's a show, whether it's a photo shoot, whether it's a video to promote, he gets it, absolutely gets it. And I think a lot of videographers that have come into this sport, that have come from fashion or anything similar, just don't really get what the mindset of high-end bodybuilders, powerlifters, it's just what they're after. And he just gets it because he's been battered into this for the last 25 years.
Not had a choice,
yeah, that's it. None whatsoever.
I think the thing that we want to do as a brand, and it's something we've talked about as Laz, is there are a lot of brands dealing with high-end athletes, as you've said, and they take themselves very, very, very seriously. And I absolutely get why, because it's a bloody hard sport. But that also leaves a lot of other people who want to compete at a high level that maybe don't take themselves so seriously and want to have a bit of a laugh. And that's kind of where we fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, the thing is, even as I always say to boys and girls when they're on the stage, when they're on the stage and they're competing, they are the future of the sport. And when I say that, that's not a case that they've got to be in it forever. But what they've got to do is make it look appealing enough for the person that sat behind me who wants to compete. They want to be part of it. So as you say, if you're just so, as you say, serious and focused, and, sometimes it can be looking almost quite intimidating, well, that's not bringing new people in.
I mean, and I don't know about you guys, I don't know what your background is, but I know I got into training before social media was a thing, before Instagram was a thing, before we even had camera phones. And I'm not that old, but actually camera phones are quite a relatively new thing. I got into training because it was fun. And if it ever stops being fun, I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, we say this all the time. I mean, how many gyms have you been in? And it's like the village pub. You walk in and everything stops and everyone looks at you and you think, oh, do me a favor, fuck off. This dark, aggressive person. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Yeah, train hard when you're doing your set, but you should say, if you're enjoying it.
It's not to take away from, people who are at the end of prep, people who are professional bodybuilders. We've got people who compete at a very high level. But even Josh Melee. Josh Melee is Mr. Universe. He's twice Mr. Universe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he's the least intimidating, aggressive person you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, especially with bodybuilding, I suppose, and powerlifting, and I suppose strongman is different to a certain extent. When you're going in for that, like especially maximal lift, you've got to be a little bit more aggressive, etc.
Having competed with strongman outside of when they're doing the event, you will never find a group of people that are happier to help each other out when they're competing.
Yeah, exactly. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
No, no. It's a very friendly sport once you get past the initial. I mean, strongman's become fairly mainstream recently as well, I suppose.
I think anybody who truly thinks like that, people who are on the outside that are not willing to come inside.
Yeah,
So, there's so many taboos around any form of sport that's using heavy weight or weight of any sort that is going to turn you into something you don't like to be. But in
yeah,
fact, it's just everybody is so friendly. Everybody gets on really, really, really well. It's just sometimes they're bigger than most.
yeah.
But that's about it.
But that was the bit that Laz picked up on really well as soon as he started working with Strong, was that we wanted to have a laugh and enjoy ourselves.
No, the thing is, I mean, you've got some good characters and some good people, that you are involved with Strom, and it's good that you need those characters to come through rather than everybody try and be a certain way.
I mean, absolutely. I think in any sport, strongman. I've been in strongman for probably 12 or 14 years, and when I was big into it, Terry Hollands and Loz were the big names, and Britain's Strongest Man in 2012, when Terry and Loz went head to head, was in a sports hall, and there were maybe 100 people there. But then you've got people like Eddie Hall that have come in and they're a character and they make it about the person, and the sport has grown astronomically. And I think for bodybuilding and other sports to grow, you need to get to know the people that are competing as people, rather than just see the end result.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that in anything, when you're sort of establishing a brand, if there's a good person behind it, you can have the best branding in the world, but if there's no good people behind it, it's really difficult.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's why I think if you have good characters, and I think like say what you're always on like your Instagram story, like explaining things in your sort of in your way, and it sort of probably helps sell to a lot of people because it's not just a blank.
Sorry, when you did the video with Laz for Support Max Neuro,
Yeah,
and you just explained it, pretty much in layman's terms, as you
yeah.
say, nobody wants to hear all the jargon and etc. And I think a lot of people do that to make themselves sound. Put it down in layman's terms. Everyone understands, and then you know exactly where you are.
I think people want to be reassured that the person who's behind the product knows how it works. They want to know that I know the bits and pieces, in the same way that when I buy a car, I want to know that the engineers know exactly what the fuck they're doing. But all I need them to tell me is kind of what it does and how I make it do that.
Yes. Yeah, it's quite simple.
As I said in that video, if someone wants me to, I can explain the minutiae and the detail of how something works, but the general gist of it is enough for most people. And actually, I think when you explain things in great detail, you sometimes kind of lose the point of fundamentally what it does. Neuro's a funny product, though. When it first came out, I didn't really know how to market it, because it was a new category. But consumers did that for us. People bought it and tried it, and then they started saying, hey, you know what? I bought this because it's good for my brain, but actually I'm finding I'm sleeping better. Actually, I'm finding I'm more productive in the day. And people spread that word ourselves, so we kind of didn't have to.
Yeah. And that's the best way to sell your product.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, what are the plans? Well, I was about to ask what are the plans next with the gym, but who the fuck knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny enough, we were talking about this a little earlier, and obviously as well, you've got your show in FitX.
There's no way to know, but if it does, in terms of timing, I think people will be absolutely itching to attend something.
Yeah, but I think really, again, just thinking for that particular event, really things are going to have to start to get back to normal.
June, July,
June sometime. Yeah. I mean, obviously not so much for the expo because people can go to an expo, but it's for people who are competing in the show.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we're very much crossing our fingers and toes, and of course there is a backup date available if needed, but as it stands, all the guidance from the government is kind of suggesting that we should be in with a shout.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as you said to me a couple of days ago, and if it would be good because you'll be pretty much the first sort of big event in the year then.
No, absolutely, yeah. Which wasn't the plan at all, but I guess it's not the worst thing in the world to happen, is it?
No, that's right. But as far as we go, we're just playing it by ear, and we'll just be ready to reopen as and when. I think it's going to be probably still restricted to a certain extent as well initially. I don't know how they could do that though. I mean, there's been talk of restricting numbers, etc., but I don't know how that would work.
Makes sense rather than going straight back to normal, for want of a better word. But yeah, as you say, it'll be a tricky one to implement.
For me, this is where the hardest part is for me at the moment, is obviously having so many that were going to compete through the May month and June.
Yeah.
And now, so they've all taken a back step. But then, as you say, they're just itching to get a date to start going again. So, of course, it's just so hard for this limbo stage that everybody's in. But having so many clients that are competitors that would do the May start, they'll break and then they'll go into the September sessions.
Yeah.
So it's just they are literally chomping at the bit already, and it's been 2 weeks. Literally everybody's just doing the best they can. But I think at the moment, I think this is where the hardest part, and funny enough, we've had a question regarding something like this now, but the hardest part for us here, where we are, not so much for myself, Mike and Laz, but is trying to get food.
Yeah.
So people are managing to go shopping, but it's so limited, it really, really is. So for me at the moment, I think the hardest thing that I've got is with my clients is trying to make suggestions for them to get their foods in, because nothing's available around here at all.
There are shitloads of Easter eggs in my supermarket.
Absolutely. You can get any eggs you want as long as they're chocolate.
You and Mike's coaching, I mean, do you guys coach people together, or do you have your own clients individually, or how does that work?
I have mine and Mike doesn't.
No, I mean, yeah, really, when we had the fire in May, well, at least you were working pretty much within a few days, weren't you? Yeah,
back to it.
And Lisa will have at least 12 clients a day, PTing. Where then I was concentrating on trying to find new premises and sort of the insurance, etc., etc. So really, since these new premises, I've only really started taking on a few people again in this last maybe 6 weeks or so. But then really it's still concentrating on getting the gym. It's pretty workable now, but there's still work that needs doing.
And I mean, I would probably say about 98% of my clients are competitors, and I'll do everything as far as prep and everything else is concerned. The only thing I don't actually do with them is go on stage for them. But, obviously I pose them, advise them on what's the best, whether they're girls or boys, what's the best outfits to wear, their posing routines, their nutrition, one-to-one personal training, as in making sure if there's any weak parts that we pull those up. And I've got literally clients from the bottom of the range that have never ever competed before, right up to clients that have won national titles and gone on further again. And for me, I do all my clients, but then we more or less discuss Mike's if they're competitors, but on the whole, Mike will do his and I'll do all mine.
But what we really enjoy, and we get the chance now and again, is to actually train somebody together.
Yeah.
And we really feed each other then. And it becomes...
it becomes nasty.
Yeah.
Good cop, bad cop.
It's on my to-do list. It is on my to-do list. What's your take on all these home workouts?
Well, at the moment, I do one every day. So I do one every day. I don't put it on social media, purely and simply because, I'm not, I go on there if I've got to. I'm not big onto social media. Unless you've got something, in my opinion, unless you've got something positive to say on social media, don't say it. So I put all my videos that I do on a daily basis. I send them direct to my clients to make sure they're keeping on top of things. And Laz then uploads them onto the on the website. So if you do want to see them, little plug here, you can subscribe to GAHX via the workshop website, and they're all on there. But I mean, the thing is, what I've done is they are still bodybuilding workouts, weight bearing exercise workouts, as opposed to dance class, jump up and down on a spot and all that shit. That's not my thing at all. But it's trying to find, get the best workouts you possibly can for things you'll find around the house. And they're actually quite good.
Yeah.
They're not bad. And again, it's just made me think again, which is a good thing.
Because I see a lot of people doing them, and I just wasn't sure how effective they can really be. Because obviously, I'm very lazy and haven't bothered.
Yeah, but again, of course, the thing is though, is you're not lazy. You're still very active with work and things like that. Whereas some people are quite lucky; they've been sent home on full pay with a laptop. So everybody's, we're just trying to get through this the best way we can.
Well, I suppose like you guys, I'm lucky in the 3 days a week that I am going into work. I've got a gym at work.
Yeah.
Training on your own, I'm not a big fan of, but if I'm there for work anyway, I see no issue with using the kit. We don't make what's the term they're using, unnecessary journeys in to do so.
And of course the thing is, we are lucky in as far as now where the gym is now compared to where it was. It's literally like 3 minutes walk. It's not, we can do it, no problem whatsoever. But it's just, again, an advantage if we have got the stuff there. So what I've tried to do, especially in some of the workouts, is just be a little bit more inventive with just shit you find around the house to make it effective.
Because all the PTs, I suppose, have suddenly found themselves with not a huge amount to do. And it's quite nice to see them encouraging people to still carry on rather than just vegetate.
And I mean, the thing is, either way, as I said, the majority of mine are competitors. So I can't afford to let them just sit back and wait for September to come and knock on the door. So, whether they like it or not, they've got to keep active. And especially, as you say, if we've got plans on them competing, we can't waste time.
They can't get fat, that's what you're trying to say, isn't it?
No, they can't get fat. They're not allowed to get fat.
It's... assuming things go as we are kind of being led to believe they are, and we hope, and this is 3 months, and then we can kind of go back to normal. If September, on paper at the moment, ties up really nicely with that. I don't want to jinx it or anything, but potentially it could be a full show. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, obviously, we got a show in September as well, so it should be a very good month for people to get back up there. And this is, I've also tried to say, mind, having a couple of missed days at this moment in time is okay, because the majority of them, as I said, were more or less ready for May. So, it's just a bit of a strange time, but I'm sure we'll find a way of getting through it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously there were shows coming up which are now, a lot of them haven't cancelled, they've postponed, and they said they're going to put them on later on in the year. Now, my take on that is there's just going to be, if everything goes as you said, hopefully to plan, as in that a lot of the September shows can carry on, you're going to get shitloads of shows now at the end of the year, and it could affect them all. For an event like yours, because it's in FitX, probably wouldn't get affected that much, but just the normal, qualifiers and the smaller shows.
Am I right in thinking that the UKBFF have cancelled everything for the year?
I don't know. I know that obviously there was shows April, May, and I think they've cancelled them. Yeah, they haven't actually said they're going to just postpone them. They've actually said they're cancelled. So
they said they were going to scrub the whole season, but it might have been fake or
exactly. So I suppose the only way we're going to tell is just to see what happens.
Me and Laz were talking about this the day before the lockdown, or the 2 days before the lockdown. It's just such an unprecedented situation. It's not like anything else where you can kind of reference back to the last time this happened, because it didn't.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, you say sort of business-wise for us all, it's literally just taking it as it comes, isn't it? Because we can't plan for anything.
No, no. I mean, even the grants and things that have been announced, which are great, we don't even know when they're going to happen or what we have to do. Or I mean, I don't know about you guys. I had an email off my council 2 days ago, basically saying that they'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found obviously each council is slightly different, isn't it? I think I found it on our local council site, so I've just got to send an email. But they'll probably pretty much say the same thing from what I've heard other people talking about. And then this the other paying up to 80% of on your last 3 years books.
Yeah, yeah. It's difficult to criticise because it's a shitty situation, whatever they do, and I'm sure they'll be in the wrong, whatever they do, according to some people. But certainly for businesses that rely on cash flow that have just had guys like yourself, a gym that have just had to stop. It's very difficult. We're obviously down massively, but we can still trade to an extent and keep the lights on.
Yeah, I mean, again, we didn't want this to happen, obviously, like everybody else. But for us, it's just like at least now everybody's in the same boat. It's not like when we had the fire and everybody, went to train elsewhere. I totally get that. So then once we can actually reopen, the business should go straight back to where it was and potentially more.
Yeah. Yeah, well, every cloud, silver linings and all that.
Yeah, I think that's just the way we have to sort of look at it at the moment.
So, as we're on a podcast and I haven't actually pinned you down to it yet, are you going to be judging at the Strong Classic?
Yes.
The what?
There we go.
We were having this conversation as well before, whereas, especially when it was when we were with the UKBFF, and it was like literally every weekend, whether it was shows, sometimes 2 shows on the same weekend, and posing courses that we do.
Yeah.
Literally, I picked Lisa up, and she said this, that she said, where we going? She wouldn't know if it was in the UK, if it was abroad, where we were going. I'd, sort out all the travel arrangements and say, right, we're going, it was, maybe we're going to Madrid this weekend.
And he would literally pick me up from work on a Thursday night at 10 o'clock, get in the car, and off we'd go. And I wouldn't have a clue where we were going, what were we going to do. The amount of times we'd be doing seminars and we'd discuss what we were going to talk about actually on the route, because it was just, crazy. But it was just crazy ass shit. But you just get on and make it happen,
You'll be in Liverpool on the 26th to the 27th of September, and you'll be judging the Strong Classics. That's nice and easy.
There we go.
Okay.
And I'll bring you a coffee.
So, all right. So if we just got to wait for Boris to say if that's a yes or a no, haven't we?
Yeah, if you could just drop him a text message and tell him that it's going to be fine, that'd be
no
great.
problem. I got that one.
It'll be grand, and we've got to focus on some positive things and all that shit.
Absolutely right. And as you say, the thing is, this is what I'm trying to say to everybody at the moment. This is something that everybody's in together. But as long as we work through it together, it'll be over quicker. And it will be over. And we will go back to where we were, if not better. Because I think what this is doing for people is they're actually talking more, whether it's via FaceTime or, things like this.
Or Zencaster.
Absolutely. But people are talking more, which is a good thing. It is a good thing.
I said on Instagram today, I've always been one of those people who's gone, I fucking hate people. And I trained on my own tonight. I had a couple of people who normally train with me say, I'm dead jealous you're getting to still train at the gym. And I realised afterwards that actually it's not the gym that I missed, it's the group that I train with. Which is a bit of a soft thing to say, but...
No, but it is. But that's what I'm saying. It's going through things, such diversity, you start to really appreciate the things that we take for granted.
And I think you're right, because there was I'm on a group, independent gym owners, and a guy went on there and was saying he was quite worried because obviously people have been trying to get little home gym set up, and he was saying, do you think all these people will come back? Of course they will, because when you can't mimic a full gym, as in tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment at home. And also, as you
Yeah.
rightly say, it's people go to the gym to be with amongst like-minded people, etc., etc. So
No, 100%. I've no doubt that you can get reasonable results at home in terms of maybe maintaining progress. I don't think an advanced athlete could probably progress forward at home unless they had specialist equipment. But yeah, the social side of the gym is massively important.
yeah, I mean, saying that, we had a gym in our garage at one time for it was a few years. And Lisa, a client of Lisa's, she was a paraplegic powerlifter, and she won
Right.
gold in Sydney and Athens in the Paralympics,
Yeah.
training from
Yeah.
our garage.
Bench press.
Yeah, she had a world record. She
That's cool.
she held the world record, but she actually benched about 160 in the gym.
No, 165 in the gym, and the record was 162 and a half.
Yeah, and
Christ.
And bearing in mind, this was a girl with literally, she had legs, but obviously spina bifida, no use. So she was really using half a body. Incredible, and I say, and I
Yeah.
use her as an example quite often when people come in saying how tired they are, what a shit day they've had, oh, they got this, they got that. It's like, whoa, 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 hang on a minute now. Pull your ass together and let's get on with it.
Yeah.
And I trained actually from the
Yeah.
garage. I trained for Europeans and a World Championships from the garage.
It was a fucking good garage.
European and World Championship bodybuilding. I assume.
So
Right.
it was my first. The Europeans was the first international show I did. So it was the IFBB World European Masters. I think I got 4th place in that, but I don't talk about the worlds.
Sensitive subject. I'll remember that for next time you're tipsy.
So
Yes, lads.
when is the session going to happen between the three of you?
After lockdown is over, I assume you're still going to have your open day.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, that would be good. We'll do it then. Well, again, we have to see what's happening. So the date might possibly change slightly for that, but who
Who
knows?
the fuck knows?
But whenever it is, we'll be there.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't know who we will be.
Well, like I say, when all you guys, all the Strom crew came, I mean, it was fantastic seeing all you guys in the gym. And so if we could do that again, it would be brilliant.
It was very, very cold.
That's Wales, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, both the gym, or the not a gym, sorry, in the shop and the workshop are fucking cold.
Yeah. Although there's something, now I've got used to it. It makes me feel like I'm going somewhere to do work.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you don't be comfortable, do you?
Well, if you're cold, you're not training hard enough, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the point, actually. So when people come in to train, they come in, they get warm, they train, and then they leave. But when you're in the gym sort of 12 hours a day like Lisa is, it can get a little bit chilly.
It's not funny. It's fucking freezing. But do you know what? These last couple of days that we've been home, Jesus, what am I like? I'm a bath of sweat all the time. My body's used to fighting so hard to keep itself warm. We come into the house and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. Our building's probably similar to yours thermally, and we've tried all sorts of things to heat it, and we've still not found a decent solution at all. We've tried the gas heaters and the diesel heaters, and they give people headaches and stink, and electric heaters kind of do nothing. We've got one of those infrared lamp heater things that you've got, but it set fire to the plug socket that it was plugged into.
I think we'll leave that then.
Yeah,
it looked like something had exploded when I was up, and like the plug was just all black, as if like a little bomb had gone off, and it was like, oh, yeah, you want to take that out.
He's heard it kind of starting to fizz, and he yanked it out. But
fucking hell.
But we've been very similar to the one you've got behind the counter. We've been using that for a couple of months. It was fine, and then it just did that one day.
I don't think any of us are going to, other than wait for summer, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I was at a thing near me that I take Rose to called, what the fuck is it called? Ingenuity. It's like a kids learning thing, and it's in an old factory. And they've got these big pipes running across the ceiling that heat seems to magically come out of, and I don't know exactly what they are. They work really well. That's all the information I've got.
I think they're called fucking expensive, aren't they?
Well, maybe, yeah, but I'm a sensitive little flower. I don't like the cold.
You'll have to borrow my snow boots.
Well,
You'll be all right then.
Are you going to actually? Do you think you'll be taking those back at some point?
Taking her back, what, like to where we got her from?
No, that's giving her back.
Ingenuity.
No, Magic Pipe World.
All right, okay.
We're very lucky in that we live next to a place called Ironbridge, and they've got loads of stuff for kids to do. And you pay, I think it's about 24 quid a year, and you get a pass to access all these things all the time. So she loves them.
£24 a year?
Yeah, £24 a year.
Fucking hell.
Laz, you're on.
You'd love it, Laz. It's brilliant. They've got like a little river system where you can send the water down and see it go down all the little. It's brilliant.
Next time I come up, can we go? And then, I'm sold.
Actually, all I was getting at is the next time you go, just ask them what the heating is.
Right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I want something for next year because it's fucking rubbish. But I wasn't sure if you'd found a solution. Anyway, I don't like cold gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. We got two heaters in the gym. One is next to Mike's chair, and the other one is next to Laz's chair. And I mean, right next.
Someone got really arsy with me about that, like the couple of days before we closed.
Why?
She was walking out. She was like, "I've just got the heater next to you," and fucked off. And I was like, I mean,
I'm here all
yeah.
day.
And I was like, it heats about 6 inches from you, and I can't follow you around with it around the fucking gym, loves. What you want? Like,
Yeah, what's your point?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have a point a lot of the time, do they? Just people, you know.
Yeah, like
We sent a parcel out to a friend of mine who's a kayaker. Now, I used to be a kayaker, and a lot of them are kind of self-righteous hippies. And if that offends you, it's probably because you're a self-righteous hippie. And one of his self-righteous hippie friends saw the picture on his Instagram of the parcel we sent him, which was full of these packing peanuts, and sent me a message to say that I should try harder and that the packing that I used was wasteful. All the packaging we use is biodegradable. It's cornstarch puffs. But of course, the gentleman in question didn't stop to ask that. He just felt the need to message me directly about it. I assume because he's got nothing better to do.
yeah, exactly. And that's you're 100% right then. Some people have just got too much time on their fucking hands.
I think it was your response though that was the best. Of just thanks for being a judgmental prick. It just fucking killed me.
I thought that I would say, I don't like to say anything on social media or by message that you wouldn't say in person.
Yeah, true.
So, but yeah, no, it's a funny old world. But yeah, sorry, it's been a long day.
Yeah, so what are we're going to do a next session?
Well, legs is something that I don't really have a problem with.
Sweet.
The problem I have, and I spoke to Mike about it in the past, is I've never really been able to activate my lats.
Oh,
Well, let's tell you what. Look, since it's a full day, we'll do legs in the morning, back in the afternoon.
I get the impression you just want to make me train legs.
No, I want you to have the full experience.
Well, I am a vomiter, just so you're aware.
Which reminds me, the last sick bucket we had was destroyed, so we got to get a new one.
Okay, I'll keep Laz close down.
There we are. There's the next thing. Anti-sickness. There you go. Something for you to think about.
Yeah, I mean, just if you don't train hard, then you don't throw
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, no. Train really, really hard and still don't throw up.
Yeah. No, I've seen your leg sessions. I mean, yeah, I've trained legs with Luke Sandor and Josh Melee, so how hard can it be?
fucking hard, I would say.
That was a red rag just waved right in my face.
Yeah, fine. I look forward to it. So we will do that on the open
Yeah,
day.
brilliant.
Very best of luck with everything over the next few weeks and months, and we will see you at your open day and then at FitX.
Will do.
Definitely. Yeah.
You look after yourselves.
And we'll speak to you soon.
Diolch yn fawr, hwyl tro.
What? See you soon. Very good. Very good. Well done.
Da iawn. Tydach chi.